Hey, what is up, guys? It's Mathless97, and welcome back to an episode of Smackdown vs. Raw 2008 General Manager Mode. And as you can see, this is the trade that we executed last episode. It is a blockbuster trade, making the WWE.com headlines. We're still on a little bit of a downward spiral as far as the ratings go. We see DX number 3 in the Power 25 rankings, as Shawn Michaels winning the title at the last pay-per-view. And there, as you can see, the superstars that we have ranked in our Power 15. Still looking to make some more trades, though, acquire some new superstars, and just try to shake up the brand a little bit more. We see Elijah Burke's got 2 weeks left on his contract, and Jeff Hardy running down to about 7 weeks. So Triple H had a bit of a lower contract. We managed to extend that last week. All of our superstars are looking pretty good at about 80 popularity or higher. I did get a suggestion for a feud between Rey Mysterio and Triple H, but as you can see, we have about 10 weeks till SummerSlam, 15 weeks till the next pay-per-view, and we want to have some feuds be able to carry over. We had all 4 of those that you just saw. We already have those 4 feuds set up that will carry us into SummerSlam, and considering we're only going to have like 1 or 2 matches on the card, we don't really need to have too many feuds for SummerSlam specifically, but we need to be able to carry something over into the next pay-per-view, which will be that ECW generic pay-per-view. That one I'm going to go ahead, look up some sort of ECW past pay-per-view, and we'll go ahead, make that the gimmick pay-per-view for the evening. So if you guys know of any ECW pay-per-views of the past that you'd like that to be, maybe, what's the one I'm thinking of? But anyways, you can see the Smackdown and Raw ratings in the background. I don't know, there was one like ECW Barely Legal, I could do something like that. But just those sort of ideas, if there's any you want to see, suggest them in the comments below, and that could be the next pay-per-view besides SummerSlam, the one after that. Because these ECW ones, they don't even have names, and I feel like to be more of a proper show, we should have a pay-per-view name, not just ECW pay-per-view, and just something that generic. We can't do that. So anyway, we're setting up a matchup here between Johnny Nitro and Bret the Hitman Hart, and we're gonna keep Jeff Hardy in this because Jeff Hardy did not win that one, but we're gonna try and end off the feud between Nitro and Jeff Hardy here. Maybe, just try to use it to propel deeper into the feud between Bret Hart and Johnny Nitro. We could maybe do, Bret Hart could, like, interfere in the match or something, possibly, and then, cost Johnny Nitro the win or something, or Nitro gets a clean victory over Jeff Hardy, and, that would definitely get Jeff Hardy out of the picture, which I'm planning on doing after this week. This will probably be the last week. Undertaker's going to be getting his ECW Championship rematch clause, because we want to be able to get that out of the way. We want to try and get that out of the way early so we can progress forward with this Cena-Michaels feud. And for some of the superstars that I want to try and build up next, John Cena is definitely one of them, to try and even him up with Shawn Michaels. As I don't know exactly what happened there. But in this episode, I tried to do it something differently. Instead of recording in the 2-episode sessions, I recorded back-to-back episodes, but I used the flashback recording feature that the Elgato has, and it seemed to work originally when I did, what was the last thing I did? I think I did my Smackdown vs. Raw 2011 Call Universe sort of pilot episode thing. If you missed that, make sure to check that out. But I did that with flashback recording, and it seemed to work out just fine. I didn't have to do a whole lot of edits for that one, though. But then when I tried to do my latest 2K14 commentary, which is about the roster, for some reason I used flashback recording again, and the footage that I had recorded just was it was editing fine at first, and then as I went more into it and brought in some other files, it ended up crapping, and it really messed up. So I had to actually put that footage into Roxio, edit that as just the raw gameplay, and then put it back into my Sony Vegas editing file to make the final edit so I could be able to bring you guys the 2K14 commentary. So I don't know what happened. It worked and then it didn't. And then this episode of GM mode, I put it into Vegas and it didn't work. So I don't know. I'll probably have to edit this in Roxio. So I'm just going to try and commentate over the whole thing. Maybe make, I don't know. Because if I just start straight from the beginning, straight to the end, and I don't have to make any edits, then I'll have a smaller chance of messing up and the audio being, off. Because that's what happens with Roxio because of how slow it takes in between in between edits, it just like freezes up, and then it'll go back, and it just does that. So I don't like doing really detailed edits in a Roxio. That's why it's a last resort. So I'm thinking maybe for something like GM mode, if I plan on just doing it a straight shot from the flashback recording, and where I don't have to make really any edits, videos that I can just get gameplay and not have to make edits, that's what I'm going to do in Roxio if it comes to that. That's when I'll do flashback recording. But still, for probably the main things like GM and Universe, I will probably still do the usual. As you see, Mark Henry getting a victory in the first blood match over Kane. Jeff Hardy, thanks to Bret Hart's assistance, gets a victory over Johnny Nitro in a hardcore match. Submission match between Matt Hardy and Mr. Kennedy. Kennedy gets a win. And one thing I did not realize when I booked this, I completely messed up. There are so many superstars not on the card. We missed out on guys like Randy Orton, Batista. Triple H gets a victory over Khali. As there was a little mini feud going there in that tables match, Khali got a victory over Triple H. And Triple H finally can get Khali out of the feud. The Great Khali is probably the next guy I'm looking to trade. After this episode, there will be a free agent popping up, so I'll look to trade them. But I'm not going to tell you who the free agent is. I'll just let you guys see that near the end of the episode. But like I was saying, the flashback recording feature, because it's inconsistent, I'm only going to use it for maybe something like my smaller series, or I don't know exactly what I'm going to use it for, but maybe like a pay-per-view preview commentary where I don't really do many edits for that, and I just put the commentary up over the gameplay and something like that, or like a Raw review. If I do any more gameplays for that, I might just take images from WWE.com, but I don't know. Whatever all I plan on doing, you know, sort of the miscellaneous stuff is what I'm probably going to use the flashback recording for. But I think in the future, for GM mode and in the future, I guess the Call Universe and my Universe mode, I'm going to do normal recording, because if I get a Universe mode episode and the recording messes up, I'm screwed. Because of all the edits that I do now, throwing in the cutscenes, and, you know, all the edits that I did before with the entrances where I cut out the loading screens, and there is just too much of a possibility that the audio would be off sync, so I really can't take that chance. So flashback recording, it's a nice thing to fall back on, but it's too inconsistent to be able to do that full time as my recording thing. So anyway, nice moonsault off that top rope by Shawn Michaels, and he hooks the leg, but Undertaker kicks out. And with the Undertaker here, I wanted to keep he's in a feud with Masters. So originally it was a steel cage match, but I had to change it so that way we had both the rivalries would still go on without having to use up one of our cutscene places, because I needed an advertising promo to have some extra cash so I could extend the contract of Elijah Burke and other superstars. So, I mean, I figured I would just book it as the manager match. It should still probably get a good rating because we're continuing the rivalries, and the championship is on the line, so that should add a little bit of an extra. And we have our higher popularity guys like Undertaker, John Cena, and Shawn Michaels. I think they're all in about the 90s range. And then we have Chris Masters, who's about an 83. So Chris Masters, I'm going to try and bump up his popularity then in the next couple weeks. I did a 2-episode recording session, so this one and the next one will be recorded. Now that I have a lot of my feuds set up, any feuds that I probably get suggestions for, I'll wait a little bit and try to put it off until the next pay-per-view, which will be whatever the ECW name I come up with. Right now, I'm just going to refer to it as ECW Barely Legal. That might not end up being that might not be the pay-per-view name I'll use, but that's just what I'm thinking of right now. So whenever I refer to Barely Legal or something like that, that's the pay-per-view I'm talking about. So anyway, we're still down in the ratings. But heading into SummerSlam, I think once Raw drops from the Vengeance pay-per-view, they're probably going to drop back down in ratings, get back down to earth. Because when you get closer to a pay-per-view, that's when your ratings start to go up. And then they sort of peak at the pay-per-view, and then they start to drop back down. So that's probably going to happen with Raw after Vengeance. So we could gain a few superstars back from that. And then come the Great American Bash, I think is SmackDown's next pay-per-view. So once that happens, SmackDown will sort of drop off then a little bit. And then by that time, we'll be gaining a little bit of support back. I'm not going to say that we're going to completely overcome everybody by SummerSlam, because Raw is going to have some time to build back up some fans and some ratings leading into SummerSlam. So anyway, Undertaker kicking out, not even a 1 count off that super kick. I was like, what? I was about to put like a WTF thing on the screen or something like that because I was just shocked. The super kick and Undertaker just kicked out at 1. So anyway, it at least making Undertaker look strong in this match. And this will help give Chris Masters a win because I think he's been losing a few late. Actually, no, I don't think that's the case. But for some superstars that are losing, since I have Kali to trade him, I'll probably put him up in like a handicap match or something like that. So that way, you know, 3 superstars that are losing, they'll be able to turn their momentum around and not drop off too much as far as the popularity goes. Because when somebody starts losing like 4 or 5, like 3 to 5 matches, that's when things are starting to go downhill, and you got to get them a win. Michaels went for the elbow drop that put away Batista and won him the title, but Undertaker managed to kick out. I had to get a drink real quick, but anyway, Undertaker's got his finisher there. Anywho, so like I was saying, the Vengeance pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, and then Raw should drop back down to normal. Give us a little bit of a chance to catch up. But I think maybe the highest we could get is like a 2.75 million fans or something like that into SummerSlam. Then we do have a pay-per-view, which will probably get us a little more over the top. I mean, I don't know if we're going to eclipse 3 million fans by SummerSlam, but we're definitely going to have a comeback. Now, what I kind of worry at this point is after we get through the Barely Legal or that generic pay-per-view that comes up after SummerSlam, what exactly is going to happen next? Because I don't exactly know from the schedule at this point in time when our next pay-per-view would be, and if our fan support is going to drop off again like it did. So I don't know. With this ECW show, it's definitely is difficult to try and keep up with the other shows and maintain yourself as a dominant brand. But anyway, what is this? Shawn Michaels tombstone through the announce table. He just, rest in peace, Undertaker. Shawn Michaels could probably win by a count out here. Just stole Deadman's finisher with the tombstone and put him through the announce table. Which actually, that might have actually cushioned the fall a little bit, because otherwise it would have been solid concrete. I don't know, but I'm sure falling through the announce table onto concrete wouldn't really, I don't know. But anyway, Michaels off the top rope, connects with a second elbow drop, and now hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3, and just like that, the Heartbreak Kid retains his ECW Championship, which is good. I want to keep the title in the HBK John Cena feud. And like the prestige of the title, I don't know if it keeps changing hands, if would like drop the match rating for like an ECW title, if they would keep like going back and forth. But we really don't. Undertaker doesn't really need the belt at this point. Michaels just got the belt, and we're gonna use it into this new feud with Cena. Undertaker can get a little bit of time away from the belt because he's been pretty much ever since the beginning of Universe Mode, he's been the ECW champion or in a feud for it. He did drop it to Kane in the Fatal 4-Way ladder match in like the very first month, but then he won it back at the pay-per-view. So I think it'd be a good thing to get Undertaker some time away from the ECW Championship belt. Try to give it to Michaels for now. And, you know, if things come down to it and Cena ends up winning the belt at SummerSlam, I don't know exactly what's going to happen leading into SummerSlam. It's not like I have a plan, you know, like, okay, at the pay-per-view, Michaels is going to win, and then he's going to feud with Triple H or something like that. Like, I don't know. So we see. We have a 3.5-star full show rating. First 3 matches were 3.5 star. Okay, first 4 were, and a 4-star main event, so that's actually a pretty good show. We should be able to go up in fan support a little bit there because that was actually a pretty good card. We want to go ahead, extend Elijah Burke for that 3-month contract. And Jeff Hardy, we cannot get to him yet, but he's got 6 weeks, so we don't have to. He's not really a necessity as far as extending his contract goes. Gonna go ahead and go to Finlay because he's one of the top guys with like contract length, so I'm gonna try and up his popularity a little bit alongside John Cena. We're going to give one to Burke, too, because I did just give him the contract extension, so a +5, that's nice. We want to try and We want to try and build up some of the more mid-carder guys, like Finlay and Randy Orton, definitely, because he's sitting down at about an 80. So Randy Orton, especially if we want to try and bring him into a feud. I haven't really done much with Randy Orton. People haven't been requesting a feud with Randy Orton. Oh, a +8 for Cena. That'll get him to 100. So let's see, we have 189 for Finlay. Alright, things are still looking pretty good. Burke went up to an 87. And I think that, yeah, Orton is probably down the bottom of the list alongside Jeff Hardy. So we're going to go ahead and up Randy Orton's popularity. Because an 80 for him, we want to get our superstars up into the 90s range. And anyway, so we have the Vengeance pay-per-view, so that'll give us an extra day to bump up some superstars. So let's go ahead and start off with Randy Orton. And, oh, +8, that's nice. So he's now an 88, so he's up there with the more top tier guys. We see a 3-star rating from the pay-per-view. Smackdown gained 150,000 fans, but still only a 3-star pay-per-view rating. That's a little lackluster as far as, you know, trying to gain in some fans. I think Raw kind of dropped the ball on that one. So that'll definitely give us a chance to make a bit of a comeback. Undertaker, with that loss, we want to try and keep him as one of the top guys. I was not thinking I should have given that to Masters, but I didn't even consider that. So SmackDown got a 3-star rating. You know, this bullcrap booking, but because of the superstars that I bumped up to trade, Kenny Dexter's like a freaking John Cena caliber guy. So we see their first 2 matches are blank. How do you do that at a pay-per-view? Oh my god, only 3 matches. A 2, a 3, and what was that one? A 3.5 star. My controller froze up there. Really? That's how you get your 3. Oh, wow. Alright, so they had a 3-star match, a 3-star show the very next night. Sabu's their Intercontinental I don't even know anymore. But anyway, I don't know. That's a little weird, but, like, why would you have 2 blank spots on your pay-per-view? I'd say Raw definitely dropped the ball on that one, so that should give us a chance to try and jump back into the ratings there. As we see Orton out in 88, Undertaker in 96. Jeff Hardy's the next guy on the list. We want to try and up his contract. And some as we see, Mickie James is the next one. So once we get our next show done, I'll go ahead and sign Mickie James. Probably trade her and Kali to get some superstars from another brand. Whether I go to SmackDown or Raw, I'm not sure who I'm going to target exactly. But anyway, so yeah, thanks for watching this episode of Smackdown vs. Raw 2008 GM Mode. Be sure to hit that like button. If you made it to this point, hit that subscribe button to see more content. Keep on YouTubing.